Can you see? But
what's going on, everybody? It's Holy Joe Rock and Roll. Please excuse my slightly disheveled appearance. Again, this is the 10th GOP debate. I watched it live from Poland. I'm 6 hours ahead, so I've been up all night basically. And here is, as usual, my reaction, feedback, and I did tweet it out as I was watching it live. So I'll use some of my tweets as just reference to remind me of what I saw, what I sort of experienced. Let's see here. Just 5 people on the stage. The field has obviously been narrowed down. It's a lot better that there's less people on the stage, but this was a debate sponsored by CNN and in Texas, occurring in Texas, just 5 days before Super Tuesday, when we will possibly see if Trump runs the tables. And it looks like he will. I'm sorry, I don't want to bury the lead, but it looks like Trump will still run the tables, if you want to cut to the chase. But let's get into some of the details. 5 people on stage. Of course, you had Trump, number 1 position. Cruz is number 2 by 1 delegate ahead of Rubio, number 3. And then John Kasich, number 4, and Carson, number 5, on the stage. This debate was another really knockdown, drag out. And I have to say, parenthetically, I don't know if you were listening to any of the mainstream media newscasts, so CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, even Fox News. The whole narrative was the same. It was all, this is the last chance for these other candidates to knock out Donald Trump. I don't remember this type of language being used against Mitt Romney when other candidates were sort of popping up in the race, right? When Herman Cain, he popped up for about a week or two, and then somebody else, and then Newt Gingrich. I don't recall anyone talking about knocking out Romney. Although they were challengers, they were described as challengers for the nomination, but not this sort of very vicious knockout talk. So right there again, we're seeing the extreme bias by the mainstream media against Donald Trump. It's in your face if you just open your eyes. It's so in your face. But okay, let's start out. I'm going to give you some thumbnail sketches as I go along the way here. Wow, I tweeted out a lot. The national anthem started out, nice national anthem, everything was cool. Got a picture of that. And I'm trying to get video. I'll have video to punctuate what happens on this, what happened on this debate. Okay, let's talk about the intros. The intros, Carson's intro was okay. Nothing special. It's Carson. Kasich sounds like Rubio. Rubio calls on Reagan, the whole children of the Reagan. Come on. It was a fail. Cruz is a liar. Okay? And then he came to Texas after being in Canada. He was born in Canada, right? So that was the opening. And Trump really sounded like Reagan about there's problems in the country and we need to fix it. No politician is going to do that. So that was really good. Right off the jump, I should say that this debate really focused on the top 3 candidates, Trump, Cruz, and Rubio. And there was a lot of punching, counter-punching, and so let me give you my thumbnail sketches up front. Starting with Carson, Ben Carson. He did okay. He was begging for more time. In fact, there was a lot of punching and counter-punching during this debate, and at one point he said, "Will somebody attack me, please?" Right, so that he would be getting more time. And then when he did get some time, he jumped in and said, "Listen, I haven't been getting any time. You didn't ask me about Israel. You didn't ask me about this. You didn't ask me about that." And he went and spent a lot of time talking on it. And I'm sorry, as much as we like Ben Carson, this is just not his year. He's not going to make it. But he put up a good fight, and I think he'll stay in the race, at least through Texas, purposely to take votes away from Cruz, who really screwed him over in Iowa. I want to say something. There was, 10 people running in Iowa, and only the Cruz campaign thought that Ben Carson had dropped out of the race and used that against Ben Carson to take votes. Only they did. Only they figured this out. Only they thought this, right? So it really points to just a lack of judgment and really, how can I say it? What an asshole that Ted Cruz is. And that's really obvious. And it becomes more obvious later on. I don't know the exact times, but it feels like Kasich got a little bit more time than Carson. And he did okay. I mean, he did okay. He's a little bit soft on some of the issues, but you try to really talk up his executive experience, which, again, it doesn't really hurt him. He comes across pretty reasonable, but maybe not tough enough. So those are two at the bottom. Did okay, but it didn't change anything. Rubio and Cruz, I got to put them together. These two try to almost tag team on Donald. Almost. They punch each other a little bit, but they almost always were attacking Donald Trump. And I gotta say, the attacks were very ineffective.
Project's illegal. You hired some workers from Poland.
I'm the only one on the stage that's hired people. You haven't hired anybody.
For instance, the first question, again, was on the illegal immigration. Cruz basically did nothing as a senator to solve this problem. He is a first-term senator, as is Rubio. These guys both did nothing. You can hear that Cruz is basically adopting more and more Trump's mantra. But it's too little, too late. Cruz, we know who you are. It's too little, too late. Rubio gave his tired answer. Rubio tried to embarrass Donald Trump or try to hit him, claiming that 30 years ago Trump was forced to settle for $1 million for hiring illegal Polish immigrants to work on one of his buildings. The truth is, and I've researched this, the Trump organization did not hire anybody. What happens is the Trump organization hires a contractor or a subcontractor. They're the general contractor, right? Trump's the general contractor. They hire these subcontractors to build various aspects of the building. Now, one of these subcontractors did hire some illegal immigrants, and I think they came to the United States probably right after the fall of the Soviet Union. There was one thing, you could tell that the audience again was stacked for Rubio and Cruz. There was one woman early on who kept screaming whenever Rubio said anything, and it was just like over the top, obvious that the room was stacked for Cruz and Rubio.
Projects.
Yeah,
he did.
It's interesting.
That happened.
I've hired tens of thousands of people over my lifetime. Tens of
Many
thousands.
from other countries instead of hiring Americans.
Be quiet. Let me talk. I've hired tens of thousands of people. He brings up something from 30 years ago.
So it didn't really help them. And then Rubio gets a question in Spanish, which is then translated because Rubio claimed that he would eventually end this Dreamers thing for the illegals. Cruz came after him saying that, these government programs never get ended. People say they're going to end them. They never end them, and that's the one of the times when Cruz went after Rubio. But by and large, they were going after Trump early on. Honestly, the attacks were ineffective, and Trump counterpunched them rather hard.
Because I was a businessman. As one magazine said, he's a world-class businessman. He was friendly with everybody. I got along with everybody. You get along with nobody. You don't have one Republican. I
would say very hard. And by the end of the night, you could see Rubio. If you look closer, you could see Rubio sweating. You could see his face was sweating. Not as bad as Finn in the latest Empire Strikes Back, in the latest Star Wars episode, but almost as bad. Oh, one of the big issues is the whole thing about the state of Israel, our support for Israel. Now you hear these candidates talking such political nonsense. The Jews don't support the GOP. The Jews, by and large, in the U.S. support Democrats. All right? So I don't understand why these Republicans are sucking Jew dick. I really don't know. Because maybe a few Jews are campaign donors, right? Lobbyists. Trump is the smartest one, and if you just listen, he's saying, listen, I support Israel, but if I'm going to be president, I want to be a neutral party in negotiations. I want to make a deal, and I can't make a deal if I come out saying I'm supporting Israel 100%. You got to be fair to both sides if you want to get a deal, and this is probably going to would be the hardest deal to make. But in order to set the stage right, you got to be a fair person. At least say I'm open to both parties, right? That's where Rubio and Cruz especially, they just cut their own dicks off, because they're so in the corner of Israel that there's no way you can negotiate a peace settlement with this kind of a person, because who would trust you? Who on the Palestinian side would trust you as president to make a fair deal if you're already in the pocket of Israel? That's a big problem. On the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, Rubio and Cruz did. These guys are ineffective. They're like playing checkers with a chess master. It's really sad to see this. But Rubio describes his plan, which is pretty much exactly what Donald Trump said, right? And his attacks on Trump were just not working. They were like shrimp attacks. So that's, to sum it up, there was a lot of action between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and Rubio, but both Rubio and Cruz attacks were very ineffective. They were very ineffective, and they're half lies or full lies from a lot of them, and it's really sad to see that. Cruz is trying to say because Donald Trump sent some money to various candidates, he gave money to everybody, and he gave money to Ted Cruz, right? That's one thing that Ted Cruz doesn't admit, is that Donald Trump supported all these people, Democrats and Republicans, including Ted Cruz. It's so hilarious. And then when it came to Rubio, there was a question about Rubio. Rubio says, you didn't send me any money. And Trump just smacked him, basically said, listen, you sent me some kind of book and you signed it. You said, I'm a great man. I have it in my office, so I didn't send you any money. Something like that. Just a massive failure on the part of the establishment candidates. It just really hones in the point that Trump is experienced. He was very calm. A couple times he got a little bit heated, but he remained very calm, stayed to the issues, didn't attack people very much personally, except did call Cruz a liar and the other guy a lightweight. And I think for Trump, it was effective. He won the debate. It's game over. And we'll see what happens in 5 days when we hit Super Tuesday. From the political desk, I'm Holy Joe Rock and Roll. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh, remember, make it happen for the captain. You're the captain.